He was served by the waitress every day. After he stopped visiting, she received an unexpected call. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Being employed in the restaurant business may be challenging. You have to deal with rowdy clients who can cheat you out of a $100 check, in addition to spending the entire day on your feet and hurrying about in unfavorable circumstances. Nonetheless, some people find that working as a server is a fulfilling career. One thing that drew customers to server Milena Salazar was her ability to maintain a happy attitude. Milena was always there to serve you with a smile, no matter what obstacles she faced during the day. Her ability to treat clients like members of her family encouraged repeat business. Additionally, Milena has a talent for handling difficult clients, even the generally grouchy ones. The traditional sour old man was one of Milena's regulars. He could make Milena's life a living hell, was particular about the food he ate, and constantly critiqued the meals. But she always gave him a grin and a dash of compassion every day. Her sour regular failed to arrive at his scheduled time one day. Because he never missed a day at the restaurant, Milena was worried about him and was taken aback when she read in the paper about some unsettling news. This is an unbelievable tale of a woman's generosity and its unanticipated return. While employed at Luby's, a Mexican eatery in Texas, Milena Salazar was renowned for her prompt and amiable service. Even when things didn't go her way, she made the most of her job because she enjoyed it. Walter Buck Swords, an 89-year-old veteran with a bad temper and a penchant for prompt service and flawless meals, was one of Milena's regulars. He held the personnel to the highest standards and had no tolerance for laziness. Fortunately, Milena was game, always satisfying his requests and making sure he had a tasty dinner each and every day. For 7 years, Buck would visit Luby's and take a seat in Milena's area. She was aware of his preference for meals served quickly and hot. With time, Milena and Buck established an excellent method. Even with his rough exterior, she was always able to be kind to him. Milena said that she lived by the tenet of treating others as she would like to be treated. Although he was 89 years old and had fought in World War II, Buck had a gruff exterior. I reasoned that he had earned a satisfying supper and a grin. Buck used to see Milena every day, so when he didn't show up one afternoon, she was taken aback. She first dismissed it, speculating that he may be ill. She started to worry, though, when he didn't come up for a few days. Sadly, she had no method of getting in contact with him or his family to inquire about how he was doing. A few days later, while looking through the papers, Milena learned that Buck had died. She would never have to deal with the disgruntled client she had come to adore over the last 7 years again over his heated meal. Gradually, Milena returned to her routine, but there was a big gap in her work week where Buck had been. Even though he had been a great bother every day, she came to realize how much he had meant to her. It was nice to have him around. There was nothing but emptiness anymore, yet it was consoling to know he would always be there. Milena had no idea that Buck had noticed her generosity, even if he never said so out loud. Actually, he was pleased with her handling of his demands and grievances. He so made the decision to repay the waitress he had become so fond of over the course of 7 years, even in death. To Milena's amazement, Buck included her in his last will and testament since he loved her so much. She could not have been prepared for what occurred next, of course. Through communication with Milena, Buck's attorneys informed her that he had not only abandoned her automobile, but also $50,000. The waitress was so emotional and completely taken aback. To the best of her abilities, she had just performed her job. Why had this man, whom she believed to be antisocial, given her a gift that would change her life? Although Milena thought she wasn't deserving of such a lovely gesture, she was grateful that her generosity and patience had been acknowledged. She never thought she would be compensated for just being kind. But it turned out that smiles may occasionally be really effective. Although many people would believe that servers receiving big quantities of money as a gift is an uncommon occurrence, it really occurs more frequently than you might imagine. An additional bonus might be a true gift for these hard-working individuals who struggle to make ends meet on tips alone. At Donahue's Steakhouse in New York City, an analogous circumstance occurred on the East Coast. When not touring the world, a local art dealer was known to visit the institution. He was well liked by the employees and had a reputation for leaving gratuities for all staff members, including the cooks and bussers. This specific patron was a favorite of Maureen Donahue, the restaurant's waitress and co-owner. He was quite kind to her and the staff, particularly her niece, who was employed at the restaurant. However, who was he? Robert Ellsworth, dubbed the King of Ming, was the trader and collector of art. He was regarded as a nice and compassionate man who never thought too highly of himself, and he was worth over $200 million. He lived with an unexpected humility in spite of his wealth. His odd moniker came from his expertise in Chinese furniture and art from the Ming dynasty. He undertook extensive global travels in search of exceptional artifacts from that era. His most well-known purchase, the Astor Chinese Garden Court, is presently housed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Donahue's Steakhouse served as Ellsworth's second home. When he happened to swing by for supper, he would always have the same dish, an open-faced grilled cheese with bacon, and he would always like the sirloin steak covered in grilled onions. Ellsworth's dog liked the cuisine there as well, so they would always share a lunch together. Ellsworth made a special effort to make the restaurant employees feel important and welcomed. In slower times, he would even ask them to sit at his table with him so he could get to know them better. All in all, he was a really pleasant man, and the staff loved having him as a customer. How about a 180 from that sour buck back in Texas? Though Ellsworth sadly passed away in 2015, Maureen and her niece each received a very unique bequest from him: $50,000. It would be an understatement to suggest they were taken aback. The two women were in shock that someone could be so generous and provide them with such a blessing. In an interview, Maureen disclosed that she would gladly return all of the money to have him at his normal table, regardless of the amount. She wants people to remember him for more than just his wealth, for his kindness and generosity. Maureen, fighting back tears, said, "He was so much more than a status. He was a friend to Donahue's staff members." Another blessing that made national news was given to a server at the Sup Dogs restaurant in Greenville, North Carolina. The establishment is well known for its hip atmosphere and lively waitstaff. When dining at this institution, you could always expect to have a wonderful time, and one waitress in particular, Elena Cluster, stood out. As a nursing student at East Carolina University, Elena worked at Sup Dogs in the evenings and attended school there during the day. She was placed at a table as soon as she came for her 4 p.m. shift one day, and she welcomed it as usual with a warm grin. But this change would turn out to be everything but typical very quickly. Elena went back to see the two men gone after taking their drink orders. Nevertheless, they left a whopping $10,000 gratuity behind. Elena first took the gesture with a hint of caution, believing it to be a practical joke. Cluster said, "I thought someone was making fun of me. I wasn't all that thrilled." "What?" I asked myself. "What is this?" When Elena saw two men at a different table with cameras, she went over to them and inquired as to whether it was a practical joke. But all they said was that they were spending the day blessing servers and that she should subscribe to mrbeast's YouTube channel. The gesture brought Elena to tears. She never would have imagined receiving such thoughtfulness. Elena made the decision to utilize her blessings to help others rather than use the significant quantity of money for education. She divided the cash among the other employees, giving $200 to each waiter who was working that evening and $100 to the others. She believed that the $800 she had left over for herself was more than sufficient. "You know, that could have been anyone on my shift," she remarked to the local media. "I did nothing to earn that kind of money. I wanted to divide it up and treat everyone equally." Customers brought money blessings to 3 separate servers in 3 distinct corners of the nation. But the kindness is what unites them, not the money. These ladies made it their mission to promote love and arrived at work smiling, even though they were employed in a demanding field. Being kind to others goes a long way, and you never know who might notice. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.